The San Francisco 49ers are entering one of the most fascinating roster transitions of the Kyle Shanahan era, and the latest wave of moves shows a franchise trying to balance urgency with long-term recalibration. Every decision being made right now, from small depth signings to major trades and looming roster departures, tells a story about where this team believes it is in the championship window. The newest move may not dominate headlines, but it reveals a lot about how the front office is approaching roster construction. San Francisco signed offensive lineman Brett Toth to a one-year deal, adding experienced depth to a position group that quietly faced serious questions last season. Toth is a 6'6", 304-pound lineman who originally entered the league as an undrafted free agent out of Army in 2019. His NFL journey has been anything but conventional, bouncing between teams and practice squads before finally carving out meaningful snaps. Last season with Philadelphia, Toth appeared in all 17 games and made 4 starts across the interior line. He logged over 360 offensive snaps while playing both guard and center, and his versatility is exactly the type of trait Kyle Shanahan values in backup linemen. In a system that demands communication, mobility, and intelligence from its interior blockers, a player capable of filling multiple roles can become incredibly valuable when injuries inevitably strike. What makes Toth particularly interesting is the context of the games he played last season. His snaps came against some strong defensive fronts, including matchups against Denver, Minnesota, Green Bay, and New York. According to advanced blocking metrics, he maintained a relatively low blown block rate across more than 300 snaps, suggesting a level of consistency that teams want from rotational offensive linemen. The signing likely signals a shift in the depth chart. It essentially confirms that Spencer Burford is unlikely to return to San Francisco, opening up competition behind the starting unit. Toth is expected to battle players like Connor Colby and Nick Zakelj for the swing interior role, providing emergency coverage at both guard and center. For a team that has experienced its share of offensive line injuries over the past few seasons, this kind of depth move matters more than it might initially appear. When the playoffs arrive, the difference between a stable offensive line and a patchwork unit can determine whether a championship run survives or collapses. But while Toth represents the quiet depth-building side of free agency, the 49ers also made a far louder move that could reshape their passing attack immediately. The arrival of Mike Evans is one of the most intriguing additions the franchise has made in years. At 6'5" with elite ball skills and a long track record of production, Evans brings something the 49ers have not consistently had in Shanahan's offense: a true X-receiver who can dominate isolated matchups on the outside. Evans is not the same player he was earlier in his career when speed was a bigger part of his game, but his skill set has aged remarkably well. His ability to defeat press coverage remains elite, thanks to the technical mastery he has developed with his hands and body positioning. Few receivers in the league manipulate defenders at the line of scrimmage the way Evans does. When cornerbacks try to jam him, Evans often responds with hand techniques more commonly associated with pass rushers. Swim moves, subtle swipes, and body leverage allow him to slip past contact and create immediate separation. It's a unique skill set that turns physical coverage into an advantage rather than a limitation. Down the field, Evans excels at using his frame to create space at the catch point. His catch radius is among the largest in the NFL, and quarterbacks have learned to trust him in contested situations. Even when defenders are draped across him, Evans consistently finds ways to extend and attack the football. Within Shanahan's offense, that ability could prove extremely valuable. San Francisco's scheme thrives on play action and layered route concepts, especially when defenses load the box to stop the run. The 49ers have faced the highest rate of heavy defensive fronts in the NFL since 2020, and Evans' presence could punish teams for committing extra defenders near the line of scrimmage. Imagine a defense stacking 8 players in the box to slow down Christian McCaffrey. Off play action, Evans releases into a deep crosser or a vertical route, forcing a cornerback to defend a massive target with little safety help. That's the kind of matchup Shanahan has always wanted to create, but rarely had the physical receiver to fully exploit. The timing element may take adjustment. Evans doesn't have the short area burst of younger receivers like Ricky Pearsall, and Shanahan's offense relies heavily on precise route timing. Training camp will be critical in determining how quickly Evans and the quarterback develop chemistry. Still, the upside is clear. Evans forces defenses to account for him every snap, which can open space across the field for other playmakers. And if you're enjoying this deep breakdown of everything happening with the 49ers this offseason, this is the perfect moment to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. We're tracking every move, every roster shift, and every strategic change that could shape the next chapter of San Francisco football. The Evans signing also connects directly to another major storyline unfolding inside the organization: the expected release of wide receiver Brandon Aiyuk. Once viewed as the long-term cornerstone of the 49ers receiving core, Aiyuk's tenure in San Francisco appears to be coming to an abrupt end. The team is reportedly preparing to release him using a post-June 1 designation, a move that reflects the financial realities of roster management in the modern NFL. The release would create a multi-year dead cap situation, but the long-term salary cap savings are substantial. By moving on from Aiyuk now, the 49ers could free up over $30 million in cap space in both 2027 and 2028. That flexibility may be essential as the team prepares for future contract extensions and roster turnover. Of course, replacing a player of Aiyuk's caliber is not easy. Even if Evans provides immediate production, he is not a long-term solution at his age. The responsibility for the future of the receiver position may fall heavily on the upcoming NFL draft. San Francisco still holds the 27th overall pick, and the front office's approach in the first round will reveal how confident they are in the current receiver room. If they invest early in a wideout, it signals an aggressive effort to rebuild the position immediately. Beyond the offensive changes, the 49ers also made a major move to address a glaring defensive weakness. San Francisco traded a 2026 third-round pick to the Dallas Cowboys for defensive tackle Odighizuwa, a player widely regarded as one of the most disruptive interior pass rushers in football. The statistics behind Odighizuwa's impact go far beyond his sack totals. While he recorded just 3.5 sacks last season, he generated 52 quarterback pressures and posted a pass rush win rate of 13.6%. Among interior defensive linemen with significant pass rush snaps, those numbers place him firmly within the top tier. Pressure from the interior can be devastating for opposing quarterbacks. Edge rushers often push the pocket from the outside, but when disruption comes directly through the middle, quarterbacks have nowhere to escape. That type of pressure forces hurried decisions, broken timing, and turnovers. For the 49ers, this move addresses a major issue that plagued their defense last season. The interior pass rush simply wasn't consistent enough, especially after injuries disrupted the defensive front. Odighizuwa provides immediate improvement in that area and could become a centerpiece of the defensive line rotation. His arrival also adds intrigue to the team's pass rush packages. Imagine a NASCAR alignment where Odighizuwa lines up inside, while explosive edge rushers attack from the outside. That kind of formation can overwhelm offensive lines and create chaos in obvious passing situations. Defensive flexibility is another factor. With Raheem Morris now overseeing the defensive scheme, the 49ers may incorporate more varied fronts, including occasional five-man looks. Odighizuwa's experience in multiple alignments gives the coaching staff more options when designing pressure packages. The trade does come with financial considerations. Odighizuwa's contract includes base salaries of more than $16 million this season and $20 million in each of the following 2 years. But for a player entering his prime who consistently generates interior pressure, that price can be justified if he performs at the expected level. While the front office has been aggressive in some areas, they've also shown restraint in others. One example is the situation involving left tackle Trent Williams. Despite speculation and outside interest, reports indicate the 49ers are not actively shopping him in trade discussions. Williams remains one of the most dominant offensive linemen in football, and his presence anchors the entire offensive line. Losing him would dramatically alter the identity of the offense. Keeping him in San Francisco suggests the organization still believes it can contend in the near term. Meanwhile, several smaller roster moves reveal how the team is filling out its depth chart. Tight end Jake Tonjes has been re-signed to a 2-year contract after proving himself during stretches when George Kittle was sidelined. Tonjes caught 34 passes and scored 5 touchdowns last season, providing reliable production when the offense needed it most. With Kittle recovering from an Achilles injury, Tonjes may play an even larger role early in the upcoming season. His familiarity with the system and ability to contribute in both receiving and blocking roles makes him a valuable part of the offensive structure. The 49ers also placed a tender on edge rusher Sam Okwuegbunam, preserving depth within the pass rush rotation. Maintaining a stable edge group is especially important given the injuries and roster turnover that have impacted the defensive front in recent seasons. Another notable departure came on special teams, where wide receiver and return specialist Sky Moore signed with the Green Bay Packers. Moore's offensive production was limited, but he played a major role in the return game, accumulating over 900 kickoff return yards. Replacing that kind of special teams production will be another challenge for the coaching staff as the offseason continues. The quarterback situation also produced some headlines when teams reportedly inquired about trading for Mac Jones. The 49ers' asking price was described as astronomical, signaling that the team values him more highly than many around the league expected. Whether that valuation leads to a trade or signals confidence in Jones as a potential long-term piece remains to be seen. What is clear is that the 49ers are navigating a transitional offseason filled with calculated risks. They are adding veterans like Mike Evans while simultaneously preparing for the departure of key players like Brandon Aiyuk. They are investing draft capital to strengthen the defensive line while carefully managing the salary cap. This balancing act defines modern NFL roster building. Contenders cannot stand still, and every offseason forces difficult decisions about which players represent the future and which belong to the past. For the 49ers, the next few months will determine whether these moves represent the beginning of another championship push or the early stages of a broader roster reset. If you want to stay ahead of every move, every rumor, and every strategic decision shaping the future of this team, make sure you subscribe and join the conversation. Because this offseason in San Francisco is far from over, and the next move could change everything.